Hey guys, welcome back. Alright, so we have a bit of a change of plans. I know I said in my community post that the next video is going to be the 5 characters that need to be buffed, but my editor is going to be away for the weekend, and therefore we cannot get the video out until next week. In the interim, I decided what we could do is a Cloud matchup chart, because for those of you who don't know, I'm a Cloud main, and I've been playing Cloud ever since the start of Ultimate. Unfortunately, I didn't really start playing Smash Bros. Seriously until Ultimate came out. I did follow Smash 4, but I never got to experience how broken Smash 4 Cloud was, and yeah, I heard it was pretty fun. And just by watching a couple Smash 4 videos, man, I wish I had that Nair. So anyways, we're going to be doing a Cloud matchup chart. This is my structure. It is going to be a +2, which is a significant advantage, in that my opponent would have to be so much better at their character and at the game than me in order to win. I can sort of autopilot the matchup and it should be fine. Then we have +1, where Cloud has the advantage in his favor, but I still have to focus, right? There's still some ways that my opponent could throw me off, or they can, cheese the kill out of me. There are risks to the matchup that I just can't turn my brain off and just auto-win. +1 means if both of us are at equal skill level, then I should win 10 times out of 10. But if my opponent is better, they can clutch out the win. 50-50 is an even skill matchup, characters where it's it would be whichever person's just better than the other. The characters don't have really any significant advantage over each other. -1 is +1, but in the opposite. So I'm at a disadvantage, but I can win if I play better, if I outplay my opponent, things like that. And the -2 is GG, where it's not that it's unwinnable, but it's like, I'm pretty sure -2 for most people is 70-30 or like 60-40, which is, I would have to play out of my mind in order to consistently beat my opponent. As a footnote, Cloud doesn't actually really have any -2 matchups, namely in light of the virtues of his kit, right? He's got range, he's got speed, he's got good out of shield game, and he doesn't really have any noteworthy problems. Like, yes, you could argue that his recovery is exploitable, but not really. It's not as bad as Chrom, or even as bad as, let's say, Ganondorf or Incineroar. Cloud's recovery can be mixed up quite a bit, and his on-stage presence is just so good. There aren't that many characters who have better on-stage presence than him, so therefore, in theory, he doesn't really have any -2 matchups, although, of course, because it's a matchup chart, everyone has their own biases, their own opinions. Some people might say this character is really unpleasant to fight, while someone else might say that character is really unpleasant to fight. So I will put a couple in there, but I would say just if we were to look at it as theoretically as possible in concept, he doesn't have a -2 matchup. He has enough pros to where it's impossible for him to really have a -2 matchup. And by pros, I mean pros and cons, not professional players. Alrighty, so we'll start with Banjo and Kazooie. I guess we'll go in alphabetical order, because these are in alphabetical order, I think. And I'm also going to I'm going to click on the characters, because last time we saw only Bayonetta for the majority of the tier list. Against Banjo and Kazooie, they have a few weird gimmicky things, right? They have Grenade, they have the pellets, and they do have Wonder Wing, and I would say down tilt is one of the most obnoxious two-framing tools against Cloud. But generally, Cloud has more range, more speed. Banjo's not really safe on shield, and they have good grabs, they have their down throw, they have their back throw, but it's really hard for them to get in because they're so slow, and Cloud is a masterful whiff punisher, so if he ever is stupid enough to just throw Wonder Wing from a far distance, then you could just run back and cross slash, run back and forward smash or up smash, or just, hold shield. That being said, once Banjo gets you off stage, it's really easy to get gimped, so you gotta be careful about that, but if you hold stage control, then it should be free win. Bowser Jr. is also, actually I would say +2. I would say Bowser Jr. doesn't really have anything that Cloud doesn't do better. Cloud has better aerials across the board. Bowser Jr. has to approach, and they usually approach with Koopa Cart. You just hold shield, you'll be fine. They do have the Koopa wind-up toy. I keep forgetting what that's called, and the Cannonball, but both are really easy to deal with as Cloud, and their grab game is not fantastic. You can really just hold shield against them, unless they're right next to you, and you should be fine. Spacing out against them could be difficult in light of the fact that they do have ways to weave in between your hitboxes, but generally speaking, Bowser Jr. doesn't have anything in particular that Cloud doesn't do better. Bayo's a +1, so after her nerfs, I would say if this was Smash 4, it would be an even matchup, if not -1, but Bayo she has to approach, right? And you can camp with limit, you can hold shield. Bayo doesn't have the best grappling game. She does have forward throw, which kills at around like 160% of the ledge, but she's slow on the ground. She can only approach you with her aerial side B, and that's really easy to punish with up B at a shield or up smash. You can just constantly play the distance game. However, if she gets her hands on you and throws you off stage, she can very easily gimp you with just a persistent hold Nair, because Bayonetta can hold her Nair, which keeps the hitbox out forever and then just gimp you for free. This will be a case of much like Banjo, where if you hold stage control, you'll be fine. If you get thrown off, you're probably going to be screwed if you don't mix up your recovery. Falcon, the same thing, actually. So Falcon has really good speed, really good mobility. He can rush you down really fast, but if you play really safe and defensively and just whiff punish, as in you force Falcon to approach, this should be fine. The one issue with Falcon that I would say is not as prevalent on Bayo and Banjo is that he has really good grab game. So you can't hold shield against him for very long because he has normal grab and then he also has Falcon dive. But he's more melee focused, and his attacks, while fast, are still easy to see coming if he approaches from a distance. So you can just kind of perma-juggle him with up air, you can just wall him out with back air, you can do a run back and cross slash or up smash or forward smash against his Falcon kick and raptor boost. Cloud does it slightly better, but you do have to still be careful because if you leave yourself open, that he can get like, 40%, 60%, sometimes even a 0 to death with raptor boost, IDJ, up air, falling up air, and then knee. He has ways to get in, but Cloud does have the advantage. Corrin's a character I haven't really fought that much for obvious reason, no one plays Corrin. Really, the only problem with Corrin is that they're slower than Cloud, on the ground and in the air. They have roughly the same frame data and range as Cloud. But they're slower. So Cloud could just outspace them by outmaneuvering them. Their recovery, up B, is super easy for Cloud to hit because there's no hitbox on top of their head, so it's just an easy down air. They also have terrible grabs and throws, so Cloud can hold shield against them with no consequence. If they're running towards you to go for a grab, they're slow enough to where you can see it coming from a mile away. Generally, that's how it works with sorties, because sorties don't have the best grabs, so against them, Cloud's best advantage is that he has out of shield options and he can just hold shield. Peach and Daisy, I don't know why these two are not... Well, I toggled off Echo Fighters, but apparently they're still here. Peach and Daisy are, by all accounts, very good characters. They can really easily shift their hurtbox to make it harder for you to hit them, but they're slow, even with float, and Cloud pretty much just outranges them all the time. Because Blade Beam challenges turnips, it's faster, and it also beats turnips. Cloud can, up smash out of shield, up B out of shield. Peach and Daisy do have a lot of moves that are safe on shield, but they can't really do anything off of that. The one thing they do have is that they're probably, of all these characters, the best at edgeguarding you once they throw you off stage. By the way, this won't be ordered in any way, so it's not like Banjo-Kazooie is easier than Daisy Peach, I just put them in no order. But if you watch, let's say, CEO, where Cola fought Mudace with Cloud, it's really hard for Peach and Daisy to get in on Cloud, because he just has such massive hitboxes, and they're kind of slow in terms of approach. Next is going to be Pit and Dark Pit. I'm going to put Pit in 50-50 and Dark Pit in +1. Only reason being because Pit's neutral B is much more maneuverable and therefore it can game Cloud easier, whereas Dark Pit Silver Bow only shoots kind of horizontally if not flat diagonally. Pit has a better ground game than Cloud, a worse aerial game than Cloud. Their Guardian Orbiters, I would say, are much more effective against Cloud than on most other characters because Cloud has such big hitboxes that they're most likely going to hit the Guardian Orbiters before they hit Pit. So it's much harder to attack them through the Guardian Orbiters, and they have fast enough ground speed and a good enough grappling game to where you can't hold shield as safely on them. So it's pretty much an even matchup in the sense that both characters have ways to mitigate if not shut down their opponent. Dark Pit's a little bit easier, purely because Silver Bow is not as bad as Palutena's Bow, especially off stage. But even then I would say, is that enough to bump them down entirely? Nah, I'll just put them here. Pit is surprisingly good against Cloud. Diddy Kong is +1. He's short, he's stubby, he is fast, he can rush you down pretty well, but here's the thing, when you're holding an item, you cannot grab. And Banana doesn't trip off your shield, so against Diddy, just mash the crap out of up B at a shield and up smash, as in just hold your shield. Since as long as Diddy's holding a banana, you don't have to worry about being grabbed, and therefore shield is free. Cloud has fantastic out of shield options, and also he can whiff punish Diddy quite well, because if Diddy misuses monkey flip or overuses monkey flip, you can just run back and forward smash, run back and forward tilt, run back and cross slash. There are a lot of ways that Cloud can make Diddy's neutral game not as threatening as opposed to other characters. That's not to say that Diddy can't do like 80% off of a single combo against Cloud, but Cloud wins because his neutral is better in this matchup. Byleth, 50-50. Cloud is faster than Byleth in terms of speed, but Byleth has so much BS in their kit, right? Like they have a better nair. Their spacing is slightly better than Cloud. I would say Byleth has slightly more range than Cloud in terms of forward air, back air, and up air. Maybe not back air, but forward air and up air definitely. It's definitely a contest of skill. If you watch all the different matches between Spargo and NK Leo, it's as even as it can get. Yes, Leo just beat Spargo at the time of this recording. Leo beat Spargo at Genesis, but even then it was pretty close, right? And then the matches in Collision and Summit were also very close. So I would say that's like a perfect example of being one of the most even matchups in all of Smash, I would say. Cloud vs Byleth. Chrom. Yeah, even. Mostly because Cloud doesn't have an easy way to just game Chrom. He doesn't have a counter, or he doesn't have an easy 2-framing option that sends you at an awkward angle like Banjo down tilt. Chrom can easily rush Cloud down since Cloud doesn't have an easy way to escape combos. So on stage, Chrom beats Cloud. Yes, you can just hold on to shield because Chrom's grab game is not the best, but similarly to Roy and like other rushdown characters, if they get their hands on you, it'll be pretty difficult to escape pressure. That being said, Chrom is still a very linear character, so you can force him to approach, and he can only really recover in one way. So there are ways for Cloud to edgeguard him, you just have to be a little bit careful because you don't want to get up-B suicided. I'm gonna actually skip these two and go straight to Roy. Roy is -1 because Roy is Chrom but better, and while Cloud does have ways to kill Roy pretty early, it's only really with like limit cross slash, limit up-B, maybe up smash out of shield, and a lot of Roy's moves are safe on shield, so you can't up smash out of shield fast enough, and Roy can also kill you at like 80% of the ledge, so it's much more risky for Cloud to go in. Roy's just better than Cloud in terms of normals, like faster frame data and equally good kill power. Range advantage is in Cloud's favor, but not by that much. Roy's the second best swordy in the game, what can I say? Only after Pyro and Mithra. It is winnable though, it's only -1. Donkey Kong is another -1. Yes, Cloud can juggle, he can outspace DK really well and rack up a lot of damage, but at 60% if you get grabbed, you're dead without limit. I don't know what else I can say. DK can just be really annoying for Cloud, and since a lot of Cloud's moves are single hits, DK can power through with super armor, with neutral B, side B, up B. It's still risky, it's really dangerous. Cloud can kind of bombard DK with damage and hitboxes, but DK just needs one opportunity to get his hands on him and you either take 80% or you just die. Bowser, -1. He is big, he's burly, he's heavy, he hits like a truck. He has decently good hitboxes, he has pretty similar range to Cloud, believe it or not, and he's got out of shield options. Essentially in this matchup, Cloud has to work much harder than Bowser to get a kill as opposed to Bowser to Cloud, because Bowser only has to hit Cloud like, 5-6 times, whereas Cloud has to hit him 13 to 15 times. A lot less room for error. Forward air is really good for Bowser. He has a command grab so you can't shield on him, and you also can just break your shield with Bowser Bomb. Technically, yes, Cloud has more range and he can box out Bowser, but Bowser can just face tank a lot of damage, and Cloud doesn't really have the best low percentage kill moves, right? It would either have to be like forward smash or limit cross slash, and even then, Bowser can survive well into like 170, 180%. It's gonna be hard. Dr. Mario, +2. You outrange him, his recovery's ass. He does have pretty good combos into Cloud, but how the hell does he even get in to do those combos? You should in theory never get hit by Dr. Mario, unless you're bad at the game. Duck Hunt, I actually don't really know. I'm gonna say, I personally am bad at dealing with zoners like Duck Hunt or the Belmonts or, Samus and things like that, so I'm gonna put them in +1. Their projectiles can be hard to deal with, but they themselves are not that threatening. You can outspace them pretty easily. Aside from that, I don't have that much experience with Duck Hunt. My only experience with them is online, and online zoners are just broken. Falco is +1 as well. Really, actually no, this is a +2. Yes, Falco has devastating combos, and if you don't know how to DI or if you don't know how to attack his down air, then you can take like 90% and just die. But he's slow on the ground, and while his jump height is fantastic, his air mobility is not. So Cloud can just perma zone him out, and his grab game is not that great. You could just add a shield almost all the time. This is a pretty easy matchup for Cloud. Fox is also a winnable matchup, much like Falco, where Cloud just outranges Fox. Fox has terrible grabs, and Cloud has fantastic out of shield game, so you can just hold shield, and you should be safe more or less. Not that you should disregard Fox's grab game, but even so. Fox is faster though, so you have to be much more quick on the draw, you have to be more precise, and it's about it really. It's still winnable though. Ganon +2. I know a lot of people like to think of Ganondorf as like the best character in the game, quote unquote, because of online and also just the fact that he two-shots everybody. But much like Mario, how does Ganondorf get into Cloud's range without getting smashed to pieces with back airs and forward airs and cross slashes and blade beams and stuff like that? You can't. Greninja is a -2. It's the first matchup I'm going to put a -2. He always is in a low profile state, so landing back air is not easy to do, and he is pretty good at just overwhelming you with combos. Hydro Pump can give you easily. Water Shuriken can do it as well. It's a case of dealing with really short characters that make this matchup difficult. I would actually argue that Greninja is a harder matchup than Pikachu. A lot of people like to think that Pikachu is Cloud's hardest counter. That's not true. Pikachu is a little bit slower than Greninja. Greninja is pretty fast on the ground. Dash attack can set up into up smash, into forward air, into falling up air, into jab block situations. Cloud is going to have to play very defensive and read his opponent well. Greninja doesn't have good out of shield options, which means that you can safely space on back air, but because he's so low to the ground, it's hard to do a landing back air on him. And he could also just punish you by using dash attack to get your foot. Hero, +1. Or actually, you know, skill matchup. I'm saying this as a skill matchup because yes, while Cloud has better movement, has better frame data, and can kind of out priority every single one of Hero's aerials and attacks, they have menu, they have side B, a lot of ways to just cheese the crap out of you. And well, I mean, in fairness, I only play against Hero online, but even so, because of menu, the absurdity of menu, actually no, that's still a hot take. I'm gonna put them in +1. I think +1. The menu is not that much of a saving grace for them. Ice Climbers, +2. I don't have the most amount of matchup experience against them, but they have really stubby range. They have to approach you. They do have their like icicle thing, but it does nothing. They have no real way to kind of outspeed you, right? They're slow in the air. Cloud can just permanently space them out with forward airs, back airs, up at a shield, a cross slash. It's pretty easy. Ike, 50-50. No, +1. I just realized, by the way, we're going really long. We're at 25 minutes and not even halfway through the cast, so I'm going to speed it up a bit. So Ike does have really good hitboxes, and Cloud's advantage of range is irrelevant in this case because they both have range. But his neutral game is so predictable that every time Ike tries to go for a falling nair, you can just go for a rising up air and beat it. Then there's up at a shield. You can use Blade Beam to force him to approach, and Cloud can punish Quick Draw very well because if Ike tries to overextend with side B and land on the stage, then you just golf swing him right into the air. Although, still pretty tough. You gotta be more precise. Similar to Fox, where it's like you gotta be precise with your hitboxes and stuff like that. Incineroar +2. Has to approach. Yes, he can do like 90% with a single hit, but he can't land against Cloud. He can't really approach against Cloud, and side B is very punishable if you see it coming. Inkling is a -2. Kind of like Greninja, they're fast. Their back air beats Cloud's because it's just as disjointed, but it's a lot faster. They can edge guard really easily and ledge trap really easily. They're really, really fast on the ground. It's hard to keep track of them, and they can kind of smother Cloud without really exposing themselves too much. That and their grab game is surprisingly good, so you can't hold shield on them as safely. It's tough to maneuver through Inkling's moves and such. Isabelle is a +1. Villager, by extension, is going to be... where are they? I would say... oh, Isabelle is +2. Villager is +1. Traps can be pretty annoying to work on because Cloud doesn't have really rushdown capabilities against Villager, and Villager is super susceptible to rushdown. So you're gonna have to play a very patient neutral game and just constantly charge limit. Essentially never approach Villager with limit, or Isabelle for that matter. Just always charge limit and then go after them. Joker, -2 matchup. You're kind of noticing a trend with the -2 matchups I'm putting in here. All of them can sort of weave in between Cloud's hitboxes and then just smother him with combos and damage and kills. Not to mention, all of them can edge guard him really easily. And they're also really hard to hit because their hurt boxes are so tiny. At least on the ground. Joker in the air as well. And then of course when Joker gets Arsene, it's like a -3 matchup. I would say if a base Joker is like 50-50 / -1, or more like 50-50, but Arsene Joker is like -2. So I'm actually, no, I'll just leave it a -2. Jigglypuff +2. How does she get into Cloud's range? She can't. Just whiff punish the crap out of her. Not a problem. Same goes to Kirby. Kirby and Jigglypuff can edgeguard Cloud if they get their hands on him, but it's so hard for them to get their hands on him that it doesn't really matter. Cloud could just play Keep Away the entire time. Both of them have to approach, they don't have projectiles to work with. I mean, Kirby does have up B, but it's not that great. They have worse range than Cloud, their mobility in the air is very easy to see coming. Even though Jigglypuff is a little bit faster, you can't. The sword is too big. Kazuya, I can't in good conscience put him in +1 or +2, even though, yes, he's slow. You can beat him out by just outranging him. Kazuya gets one Electric Wind God Fist on you and you just die. With that much kill power off of winning one neutral interaction, you cannot put him lower than even, in my opinion. Ken +1 and Ryu also +1. They're kind of like Falcon, where you can play keep away for the most part, but if they do get their hands on you, you take like 60%. Ryu, I would say, is more obnoxious to deal with Ken. Or not really, they're obnoxious for different reasons. Ryu has Shakunetsu and Ken has his Fire Shoryuken, so it's a little bit tough. And their mobility in the air is actually good enough to where they can get right in your face, and if they do so, you're almost always going to lose. DDD, +2. It would be -2 if it was online, but +2 offline. Not much to say other than Cloud's faster, same range, DDD's bigger, and Cloud can just smack Gordo away with Blade Beam. K. Rool, +2 matchup because sort of the same reason, I guess. Nah, +2. Link, even matchup. Link has just as many ways to beat Cloud as Cloud does Link. I run into this matchup a lot online. Offline, I would say it's a little bit different, but if I were to guess why, it would probably have to be the fact that Link has good boxing tools, even for a swordy, right? He's got back air, he's got Nair. Nair is so annoying. Sex kicks are so annoying to deal with as Cloud. And his range is just about comparable to Cloud's. Then of course he's got his arrow, his boomerang, his bombs he can force you to approach, which is another advantage that Cloud tends to have over his opponents, is that Cloud has an incentive to camp, but against Link, who has zoning tools, you can't really do that. Little Mac, +1. I put him in +1 and not +2 because Little Mac is actually, believe it or not, kind of good against swordies. Cloud is not the best at edge guarding. He's really good at ledge trapping, but edge guarding not so much because it's really risky to go off stage as Cloud. Technically, you could do a run-off Nair, run-off forward air, but it's not as free-low as a run-off forward air for Lucina or Roy or, you get what I mean, right? Little Macs tend to hold their shield a lot. Cloud doesn't really have the best way to respond to that kind of playstyle, and so therefore, you know, it's not like he's Falcon who can just get him off stage and then just do a run-off and do any kind of aerial, because Cloud doesn't really have the easiest time dealing with Little Mac in terms of cheesing him. He doesn't edge guard too well, or gimp him for that matter. Lucario is +1. It would be +2, but similarly to Kazuya, where once he gets Aura, you get hit like twice, you die. And he has Aura Seer, which does require you to approach sometimes. Frame data and hitbox wise, it's, you know, Cloud wins in terms of range. It's just that for some reason I can't help but think that against someone who can just two-shot you, I know I said the same thing for Ganon, Ganon can two-shot you as well, but Lucario is pretty fast in the air, especially once he gets Aura. I don't remember if Lucario gets faster with Aura, but it feels like it does. Lucas is even. You get hit by one PK freeze, you die. That's all I'm gonna say. PK freeze is even PK fire, it sends you at an angle to make it harder to recover, and Lucas is there. Ironically, Lucas is harder to deal with than Ness as Cloud. There's also, let's say, like down smash. Down smash can challenge Cloud's up B. So Lucas is a gimmickier version of Ness, but those gimmicks actually work against Cloud. And by extension, I'm going to put Ness in +1. Cloud outranges Ness, and he is good out of shield games, but Ness does have ways to just rack up damage with PK Fire, and it's hard to really escape PK Thunder. It's really hard to escape PK Thunder as Cloud, in my opinion. That said, he's still pretty easy to deal with. You watch Spargo versus Send / Best Ness at the time, and Spargo's got like a 90% win rate against Send. +1. I don't think it's exactly +2 because Ness has enough to make it difficult for Cloud to autopilot the matchup. Lucina is +1. Marth is +2. Lucina is pretty easy for Cloud to punish, namely because Cloud can just safely hold shield. I know they have shield breaker, but they don't really use it that much to be too afraid. And of course, they have no projectile. You get to camp. You can camp with Limit. You can camp with Blade Beam. You can rack up damage really easily. And the way they play, they're one of the easiest characters to just spam the crap out of up B at a shield. So you can get edge guarded pretty hard against them, but on stage, you should be fine. They're slower and more floatier in the air, so you can just play the ground game, you'll be fine. Up smash at a shield, you can kill them really easily. I would have put them in 50-50, maybe last year or the year before when I wasn't that good at the game, but now that I've gotten a bit better, I would say that Lucina and Marth are much more doable than Roy and Chrom, because Roy and Chrom have more speed and rushdown potential, whereas Marth and Lucina are more spacing oriented, and against Cloud, who's also spacing oriented, except he has a projectile, he has Limit, the advantage is in favor of him. Luigi is +1. Stubby, slow in the air, but he can 0 to death you. I'm actually going to put Mario in +2. I think Luigi's harder to deal with than Mario simply because of the volatility factor. And Luigi's dash attack is kind of stupid to deal with as Cloud. That's about it. It's also a little bit harder to edgeguard Luigi compared to Mario. I don't know, I've always struggled against Luigi a lot more than I did his brother. Mega Man I personally put as -1. I don't think he really is -1 in theory, but I think it is because again I suck against projectiles. And Mega Man does have a few ways to make it kind of hard for you to really get in on him. I did speak to a few Mega Man players and they all said that Mega Man's not that safe on shield, which is all the more reason for you to just spam up B at a shield, up smash at a shield, and that is true, but Mega Man does have a good throw game and good ways to pressure your shield. Down air is extremely safe on shield for whatever reason, and yeah, it's one of those matchups I'm not very familiar with. I don't really know how to go about it. Meta Knight. He gets you off stage, you die. Like even more than any of the other guys. Meta Knight gets you off stage and edge guarding Cloud is so free. He's essentially better than, he's like Jigglypuff and Kirby, but better in terms of this very specific matchup. On stage, Cloud has the advantage, but if Meta Knight just throws you once off stage, which he can do very easily because he has dash attacks and approach option, you're gone. It's so easy. I don't know what else to say. This matchup is degenerately -1. Mewtwo, +1. He's got tail, really easy to hit. Yes, he has Shadow Ball, but I would say the incentive to approach is in Mewtwo's favor more than mine. Because Shadow Ball, while it is deadly, Limit is even more deadly. And Cloud can easily just outspace and outzone. And Mewtwo has no way to escape combos because he has a like a Nest Whoosh kind of second jump, which is I think start up a frame 9 or 7, whereas everyone else has a frame 1 double jump. A lot of Cloud's combos aren't true, but for Mewtwo it kind of is unless he uses an air dodge, but if he air dodges then you can frame trap him. Mii Brawler is even. Kinda, no, +1. I treat Mii Brawler the same way I do Fox, they're more or less the same. Mii Gunner is +1. It would be a +2 if I knew how to deal with zoners. It's purely just because I don't know how to deal with zoners that well. Mii Sword Fighter, Freelo, not a problem. Min Min, even, because similarly to Meta Knight, she gets you off stage, you die. Most of the time. However, her on-stage presence is weaker than Meta Knight's against Cloud, so I'm putting her in even. Game & Watch, +2. Cloud is such an easy counter against Game & Watch. Everyone mentions it. If you want to be Game & Watch, you pick up either Cloud or Ike, maybe. Cloud or Sephiroth. I would say Sephiroth is better. Pac-Man +1 is funny because I talked about it in the tier list video. Cloud is really good at beating the characters that beat everyone else. Game & Watch, Ness, Pac-Man, Steve, Sonic, Olimar, like the characters that are super frustrating for the majority of high tier, top tier characters. Cloud just happens to be coincidentally really good at. That's why I like to play him. And maybe that's why he does so well, because he's good at dealing with all the janky champions. Wait, who was it? Oh, yeah, Pac-Man. Pac-Man could be difficult to deal with, but he's slow in the air and on the ground to some extent. You can shield against his items because again, if you're holding an item, well, no, bonus fruit is only if you're holding the item as like an item grab, but as like a B option, it's okay, but there's nothing Pac-Man has that makes it really difficult for Cloud in any way. I would say the Hydrant could be annoying. If, like, I have actually been edge guarded or gimped by Hydrant a couple times, but really Cloud can hold stage control for the entirety of a match and be fine. Palutena is even. They have equal parts speed, damage, range, punish options. Palutena has a good grab game, Cloud is good at a shield game. They more or less cancel each other out, and I don't think either side really has an advantage over the other, so it's just whoever's better in terms of skill. Pichu is even, Pikachu is -1. Definitely winnable, but it's hard because he's tiny, he can rush you down really fast, and T-Jolt is annoying. Yeah, I would say that's about it. And Pichu is just Pikachu, but easier to deal with. Olimar is +1, Cloud can cut through his Pikmin really well, and Olimar is easy to hit because up B is very slow and you can just smack him to pieces, you can outrange him. And the only way you really lose this matchup is if you disrespect his Pikmin dot damage and take like 100 damage from white Pikmin on you the entire time. I'll admit that it is hard to shake off the Pikmin because Cloud doesn't have that many body hitboxes except from like maybe Nair, but even then, it's not that big of a deal. Piranha Plant is +1. He would be +2, but if he gets you off stage, it's hard to get back because he edge guards really well, and ledge trapping too. Pokemon Trainer, maybe I should toggle on echoes just to like split it apart. So PT, I'm gonna put in -1. Cloud has a hard time against Squirtle. He does okay against Ivysaur, and in my opinion, Cloud has a hard time against Charizard too, since Charizard can actually outrange Cloud, and he has better ways to secure kills without putting himself at risk because he's got kill combos, and he's better ways to kill Cloud without putting himself at risk because he has good grappling game. His up smash out of shield is better than mine, and overall I would say that PT is definitely a tough matchup for Cloud. It's not impossible, but it is hard. So I'm actually going to put Pyra and Mithra in even. Pyra is a +1 for Cloud, Mithra is a -1 for Cloud, so it rounds out at about 50-50. Cloud does actually pretty well against Mithra, since Mithra's moves are unsafe on shield and he's got up B at a shield and up smash. And against Pyra, Pyra plays a lot like Ike, I would say, and Cloud is okay against Ike. So I put them in the middle. The Belmonts, I put them in -1 because I suck at dealing with them. I'm just not good against zoners, that's just me. Ridley is a -2, Plasma Breath is hacks. That thing solo wins, it's like Meta Knight but in a single move. Plasma Breath, get Cloud off stage and use Plasma Breath, that's it. Rob is even. I used to think that Rob was a -1 matchup for Cloud, but now that I've played against a lot of Rob players, because there's so many of them, oh my goodness, it's tough. It's gonna actually, no, it's a skill matchup. It's 100% skill matchup. Robin, +1. Would have been +2 if I'm good against zoners, but I'm not. Cloud is just more consistent than Robin. The only issue with Robin is that they have an ammo system, and that ammo system makes it really difficult for them to have the right amount of tools when they need to have them. Rosalie Luma is +2. I know I'm rushing through the tier list now, but I realize we're at 45 minutes raw footage, and I have a lot of characters to go through, so we're gonna blitz through the end of it. Sorry about that. Samus is even. They have more of an incentive to camp than Cloud, and their boxing game and range is good enough to overwhelm Cloud in the right circumstances. It's a skill matchup. Sephiroth is also a skill matchup. Sephiroth is more range, Cloud is more speed, pretty much it. Sheik is -2 because it's similar to Joker and Greninja and Inkling. She just overwhelms Cloud. It's really hard to do anything against her. She's fast, she can low profile a lot of things, and if played correctly, you cannot press a single button against her. Shulk is also -2. He has slower frame data than Cloud, but Minato Arts fixed that really well and he outranges Cloud. Snake is +2. Cloud is also one of the few characters that can easily destroy Snake for some reason. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but I just don't understand why Cloud just happens to be able to beat. What is it? Is it just because he's got the best combination of frame data, range, and speed to matter against these kind of characters? I'm not sure. Sonic is a +1. Hold shield against Sonic, you're fine. Sora, I would say, is actually a -1. Or no, it's a 50-50. I need more experience against Sora, but from what I can infer, I've only played against one Sora offline, but online I have a really hard time getting into Sora's range. And I think it might just be because of my specific way of playing Cloud. I play a very aggressive Cloud. If I played a more defensive and bait and punish, it might be easy for me, but at the moment I would say they're tentatively in 50-50. Steve is a +1. You outrange him. Yes, they have bullshit, but every character has to deal with their bullshit. That's about it. Terry's a +1. Much like the Shotos, Ryu, and Ken, if you play Keep Away, you'll be fine. No, I'm actually going to put him in even because Terry has more movement options, like Crack, Shoot, and Burn Knuckle can close the distance very fast. And if he gets his hands on you in a close quarters combat game, you lose. This matchup is more even than I would say a lot of people would think. Generally, Cloud players put him in +1, but I would say 50-50. Toon Link, +1, I'd put it in +2 if I knew how to deal with zoners. Wario, 50-50. You have to respect the WAF. You're playing with essentially 2.5 stocks. And Wario is so mobile in the air that he can weave in and out of your hitboxes. It's kind of ridiculous how a guy this fat can move really well. Wii Fit Train is +2. Their hitboxes are terrible. Like, Cloud can keep away, and also Cloud's Blade Beam can challenge header. Wolf is a -2. He can weave in between your hitboxes and overwhelm you with damage. And then of course his edge guarding is really good. Blaster can go through your Blade Beam. Wolf, I would actually say, is good against swordies in general. I don't know why, but for some reason I feel like he does really well against the keep away characters. Like, he does good against Shulk, Cloud, Ike, even Sephiroth. Like, something's up with this guy. Yoshi is -2, or +2 rather. Yoshi's Freelo. I love it. Toon Link. Even matchup. Oh, did I say Toon Link? I meant Young Link. Young Link is a better version of Toon Link. Fight me. Zelda is +1 because I never fought her offline. I don't know a single Zelda player offline. She's only online. I would say actually no. I'm gonna put her +2. If I could react to her moves, then she'd be a lot easier. And ZSS is +1. Okay, sorry about that. I had to go a lot faster for the latter half of the characters, even though I wish I could talk about it for all of them. But we're at what, 55 minutes? Or 50 minutes. So I'm gonna end it off there. This is my matchup chart. Let me know if you agree or disagree if I have any other Cloud mains watching. Cloud generally does well against the majority of the cast. There aren't really, even the -2s that I put in here, there are ways that he can win it. It's just he's got to work really hard for it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you have, please be sure to like and subscribe. Consider following me on Twitter, joining my Discord server, and check out my tier list video in the meantime if you haven't yet. I'm gonna have the 5 characters that need to be buffed video probably next week, early next week. We'll see if we can do that. But for the time being, thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon for the next episode. Take care.